What is going on? It is Tuesday. It is 6:45 p.m. If you're on the West Coast, 9:45
If you're on the best coast.
p.m. If you're on the East Coast, I got brain locked right there. This is a still conspiracy. We got a lot to talk about, Rodney. A lot to talk about. You
Yes,
ready?
sir. I'm always ready.
That's right. You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
That's
Let's
right.
go. Wrong intro.
Image, your beats are so fire.
We can compete with. I feel we can beat the Browns. We can compete with Baltimore if they have Lamar, and we're right there with the Bengals.
That young man put his life on the line for you, for your entertainment.
We were talking all before the game. You know, everyone was like, "Nah, Ravens don't have a shot," and they're right there. What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night, a still conspiracy. It's playoff weekend. It's should the Lakers get a new coach weekend. It's all that. It's it has Bronny. You can see by Bronny's disappointed, but I'm here with my man Bronny. How you doing tonight, Bronny? Happy Tuesday.
Doing well. Shout out to Amaj. His beats are so fire. I get stuck in
His
my head every
beats,
time you play it.
his beats are fire. They're absolutely fire.
That's right.
Apparently, I just got a community standard on the Facebook. Am I bullying you?
I mean, it's kind of your favorite thing to do.
It's literally like, yo, you can't be bullying people. Like, what? All right. I guess I'm gonna get kicked off of Facebook real quick because of how we talk to each other on here.
Wow, Jeremy.
Yo, what's up? What's up, Ben? How you doing? Hope you're having a great day. It's my man, Is It? Shout out to Is It. He's the homie from MTG, Magic the Gathering. You know, my favorite game.
Awful.
What's up, Jeremy? How you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Appreciate you hanging out as always. My man Buck. Shout out to Brandon Buck. So Brandon this weekend, I messaged him at 8:00 like a normal person to put some bets in for me.
Mm-hmm.
He never responded. You and me talked about this. The bet wouldn't hit anyway, but he's my good luck charm because every time I put a bet in with him, it hits. I hit with the Steelers last week. I think I hit with the Steelers winning, the Titans winning, and Texas winning this week with Brandon. So you know, Brandon's my good luck charm. I go to him.
Goddamn degenerates.
Facts. Well, at least one Ravens fan showed up tonight. I know Bronny's here, right? Bronny is here.
I think you know who that was directed at.
The nightmare is over, Bronny. We're going to talk about.
Nightmare.
Apparently, Cody Rose is not going to finish the story. I think was what he's talking about. No, I think he's talking about your Panthers.
Look, man, it ain't a nightmare for me. I just changed the channel. I just watch good football.
You're one of those people. It's so funny because I think I should be more like you. Because you're one of those people who are like, oh yeah, you talk crap about my team. I don't care.
Yeah, like,
you just want to roll off. And me, especially me, I go off the rails.
But
I say,
as Jeremy alluded to, shout out to Hendo who's having some issues tonight. Hope he gets that taken care of. He should be back. You know, he'll be back in time for his birthday stream for sure on Thursday.
I mean, hopefully. I mean, I'm more worried about him doing some work tomorrow. Otherwise, you know, somebody else is going to get all the work.
I ain't getting no work. I did my work for tomorrow. Hopefully, he'll be back in time for his court case tomorrow evening. That's an important one.
Yes, LBHT. You got to check that out. It's become a new kind of dope segment on your show now. Like we started doing it in OT. Like we put Ferris on trial. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get put on trial. Like we just randomly do it, so it's pretty fun. It's been one of the fun things that we do now. But we're gonna talk some NFL football. We're gonna talk some Lakers because I know you and me both are Laker fans. I love the court case segment. Yeah, dude, it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty funny. And like you should, and if you, I think the idea should be if you're a certain tier Patreon, you would be allowed to come on for that 5 or 10 minutes segment to defend a case. If you're a certain, like you have to be. Yeah, I think you should be like a $25 tier.
Is that what you think?
Or a Suge tier,
Maybe
because
that might be something we talk about. I'll have to
there you go.
hit up Jose on that one.
Hit up Jose. Shout out to Jose. He's one of my favorite people.
He ain't here.
He should be. He'll pop up once I play the music. He shows up. So, all right, let's get it started. Didn't think it was possible. Didn't think it was going to happen after those 3 losses. But shout out to the Titans. Shout out to Tannehill, who looked like Joe Montana in that first half, and Derrick Henry, who ran with purpose, and Trevor Lawrence, who we know isn't going to be
continues to
Hall of
not
Fame.
live up to that number one.
Not up to the hype, yeah. But the Titans walked into Jackson, or they were at home. They weren't even in Jacksonville. But they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a lot of people are pointing out when Jacksonville beat the Steelers, they were 6-2. Homeboy, I forgot what the guy's name was, took the towel and he took it from the fan. He's throwing it and he's doing this, doing that. Hushman Dada did it. And then all of a sudden they just went downhill from there. I think they won 2 more games. But then after that they just lost.
What's up, Jared? Their season went off the rails. Their coach just fired a bunch of people on his staff to save his own skin, which is always a strong move. That means you're getting fired the next year. He should have just been like Rick Martindale and just resigned, but whatever.
Yeah, and then Tennessee goes and fires their coach after he knocks the team out of the playoffs. They said, "Thanks for coming. Get your bags and get out."
Yeah, a lot of people were shocked by that and saying, "Oh, he's such a good coach and he should have been fired." I'm like, I don't think he's a bad coach, but Tennessee wasn't anything special while he was there. Like you're talking about a team who
they got to one AFC championship game.
Right? Well, yeah, like they're I don't even did they even get to the championship? I thought they got. I think they did it. Yeah, the 1 year they beat Baltimore. Yeah. But in general, you're looking at a team whose ceiling is like second round of the playoffs, right? Like you're not.
Oh, with Ryan Tannehill.
You're not thinking Tennessee's gonna win anything.
Yeah, I mean, if they had a good quarterback with Derrick Henry, it's going to be so crazy.
2 quarterbacks.
Well, homeboy that a lot of people wanted us to draft, which is kind of got to talk about that because that kind of looks like we're like, ooh. If you go back, would you take is it Malik? What's his last name?
Malik Willis.
Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett again?
I would take Malik Willis, honestly. I think I knew that he was not ready to play. He needed some time on the bench. So I think if they had taken Malik Willis and sat him down, and this is a thing that the league in general needs to learn. Again, there are guys who are fantastic prospects who are ready to play. You see that, and it's happening more frequently. But there are guys who need time to develop before they're ready to play in the NFL. Look at Jordan Love. Jordan Love looked awful his last year in college, and the Packers drafted him, let him sit for 3 years. And, he took him to the playoffs in his first year as a starter. He looks like he can be their guy. But a lot of teams, Tennessee did this with Malik Willis. They put him in there. They threw him out there when he wasn't ready to go. They gave him like a game or 2 and then decided he wasn't the guy and went and drafted another quarterback.
Yeah. And now and it kind of screws his career unless someone gives him a chance. And that kind of sucks because I think you're right. I think teams now like you want that instant success, and you think you're going to get it like a Ben Roethlisberger, or you're going to get a Lamar. Don't you roll your eyes? A CJ Stroud,
Okay.
you just
Okay. CJ
a
Stroud is
Patrick.
0-1 against Bryce Young, by the way.
Hey, it is what it is.
You
Or
can't get
you're
that.
gonna Patrick Mahomes, even though he sat for 1 year,
Yeah,
the
I
next
think
year he came out.
he would have been ready in year
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So I think teams are too quick to try to jump the shark with quarterbacks. And you're
Mhm.
right, they do need time. And if you and I know you won't admit it or you won't agree, but this is the case with Mason Rudolph. He sat. He's looked decent. Now he's this is against three not very good defenses and a third the third string defense,
Mhm.
but he's still an NFL quarterback and he did what he had to do. So
No,
this is gonna
I
be a good
do
test for
agree.
him.
I like Mason Rudolph coming out of Oklahoma State. I thought that was a good pick for Pittsburgh in terms of looking to the future. I don't think that he's going to be kind of any kind of a a long term starter for them or anything. But he is another example of a guy who came in, got to sit for a while, and he can be effective. You know, um, but most teams they chew up these quarterbacks and spit them out before they even have a chance. I mean, Carolina, I don't think this guy really had the ability, but they drafted Matt Corral in the third round, right? And he got hurt his rookie year. And then they said, screw you, and drafted another quarterback, and he's gone. They drafted Will Greer a few years ago, right at the end of the third round. They played him a bit as a rookie. He wasn't very good. And they said, screw you, and got rid of him. Like teams use these pretty high picks on these players, and they just, if you're not ready to be a star instantly at the hardest position in the game, they treat you as disposable.
Yeah, for sure. I do think I don't think Mason's going to be something special, but could he develop into like a Kirk Cousins and make money and get you wins every year? Sure, I think he could do that.
Yeah, I think at worst for him, he's looking at a long career as a steady backup for somebody, at worst. And I'm sure he'll get an opportunity to start somewhere else. I mean,
If the Steelers don't keep him,
maybe in Pittsburgh, the way things are
yeah,
going with Kenneth. But yeah,
yeah.
he'll get a shot, I think.
Yeah, I think Oakland. I think the Vikings would take him. I think Oakland would definitely take him. There's teams out there that would
Yeah.
take him either as a backup or a starter to see how he does, or at least bring him in as a starter in camp and then see if their other quarterbacks can outdo him in camp. But I mean, like I said, he's done it against the third string backup, which I will point out though. Patrick Queen was out there and he looked like he was getting mollywopped. I think he needs Roquan Smith just to be effective, but we won't talk about that. But I think that this is his chance. If ever there was a chance for Mason Rudolph to first get the love of Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
but also prove that he belongs in the NFL. If he could, even if he goes to Buffalo and loses, but puts up good numbers,
Yeah.
and he was reason they almost won the game, he's going to get more opportunities.
I think honestly, just coming in and helping them get into the playoff when it looked like their season was completely off the rails, I think he'll get an opportunity.
Off the
But
rails.
yeah, I mean, obviously it'll help if he goes in there and plays well against Buffalo. Like you said, I don't think he needs a win necessarily, but if he gives a good accounting of himself, he'll get a shot somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Jared. What's going on, Jared? Hope you're having a great night. Appreciate you. Jack's not wrestling Trevor Lawrence at all. Cost him a playoff spot. Maybe. I mean, I think he didn't look. He looked like that throw to Ridley. When I saw it, what I told you when I was watching the game, the first thing when I turned on the TV, the first play that happened was Tannehill throwing the interception, and I go, "Oh my god, are you kidding me right now?" I turned it off, and then I turned it back on later, and he throws that pass to Ridley, and like Ridley was so wide open, he could have just spun around like four times and still caught the ball. Had Trevor Lawrence hadn't overthrown him,
Yeah.
because he was wide open, and I'm thinking in my head, I go, "Nope, there we go. We're losing. We're not making it to the playoffs." He is wide open and just out of his fingertips, and it felt so good. And then he overthrew like two bad passes on the 4th and 2 and the
Yeah.
3rd and 2 were bad. Like they weren't even like close. So I don't know if he was pressing or what was going on with him, but it was not good at all. Um, they played the Chiefs and collapsed. Shout out to Mr. J. What's going on? What it do? Hope you're having a great day. Jeremy wants to just be greedy. I just want Derrick Henry in Dallas next season. Sure. Shout out to D Weezy. Willis versus Pickett. I'm taking a wide receiver. Hey, that might be true. Malik Willis wasn't ready, but they stuck with Mailman Will Levis. Wow. I don't know if you can call him that. Can you? Is that white on white crime? Could you imagine if the Browns met the Steelers in the playoff, Miles versus Mason again? Well, that would mean the Steelers beat the Ravens, and then and the Browns then beat the Chiefs, and if that happened, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, that happened. This is gonna be crazy. But yeah, the Steelers make the playoffs. They still finish with the 10-7 record. I mean, that if you looked at that at a 10-7 record, that was usually decent, like good to get into playoffs, decent season. We just know those 3 games, especially that 3-game stretch where they lost to 10-2 teams, where you like to remind me it was the first time in
no,
how many
I'm
years?
sorry, 2-10 teams.
Did I say 10-2? Did I say 10-2? 2-10. I apologize. 2-10, and it was the first time a team over 500 lost to 2 back-to-back 2-10 teams in like 2-10 teams ever. It didn't look good. But this going to the playoffs does cost us T.J. Watt, and we'll get to that in a minute. But realistically, Brownie, your realistic expectations for this Bills game. What do you think the expectations are for the Steelers?
Realistically, I gotta say I'm picking Buffalo to win the game, but I mean, there's always the Josh Allen factor, right? And Bills fans are running around posting screenshots saying about how he's got the most touchdowns in the league and he's got the most yards in the league and he should have been in the MVP conversation, but they're not posting the third one where he led the league in turnovers. And so, if Mason Rudolph can kind of stay within himself and not make mistakes, Josh Allen's likely to give you 1 or 2, right? And at that point, I think Gabriel Davis is hurt. I'm not sure if he's going to miss the game or not.
They said they're keeping it real close to the chest, but yeah, that's what I saw.
And so they're going to need Joey Porter to really kind of try and lock up on Stephon Diggs. And, it sucks without TJ Watt there, but they still got Highsmith. They still got Herbig. If they can get some pressure onto Allen and make him make some bad decisions, they absolutely have a chance.
Yeah. Did you see the post from JJ Watt when he said, would they notice? And he posted a picture of him in Steelers.
No,
that would have been funny. I don't think and people started going, oh, they're going to sign JJ Watt for 1 game. I'm like, I don't think you can do that. Like, I don't think you
They could, but I mean, he can't play anymore.
Imagine they sign him, he comes on and gets like 3 sacks.
I mean, look, Miami just signed Justin Houston. Yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because what's his name? Bradley Chubb tore his ACL in that.
All the Chubb's getting hurt this year. Is Chubb related to Nick Chubb?
I don't think they're related. It's odd because how many people with the CHUBB and you're not related to, but I don't think that they are. I don't think they are. But they lost both of their edge rushers for the season, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. So they went and signed a couple guys today, including Justin Houston, who was absolutely worthless in Carolina, to the point where they cut him. They cut him towards the end of the season. But hopefully he can bounce back in Miami.
Now he's gonna go to Miami and get like 2 sacks.
Right. And look, I'd be happy for him if he does. I hope he kind of turns it around and plays well. I don't think Miami's, seriously going to make a run at a Super Bowl or anything, but it'd be nice to see him kind of turn it around from what happened in Carolina.
Yeah, for sure. Now getting to that TJ Watt injury. It is a grade 3 MCL strain. And we were kind of arguing about this yesterday. So if you enlighten me, what is because a strain is a tear? Or I thought
it's just a partial tear, and the grade just determines how severe the tear is. For TJ, I believe the scientific term for it is had it coming. So he's going to be missing the game this week.
So dirty.
And as Coach Evans said, his season is over because they're probably not going to win this week. So
okay,
season-ending injury there, unfortunately.
And then all of a sudden, Highsmith just goes off. Herbert just goes off. You know,
it could happen.
Joey Porter just becomes Darrelle Revis on Diggs.
Well, he already is, right? He holds every play.
He does hold every play.
He held every play in college too.
Yeah, but I mean, he's out there fighting, so I can't get mad about that. But you see a replay where they don't call it, and you're like, Jesus, he mugged that guy.
Hey, listen, if you can get away with it, do whatever you can get away with.
Shout out to Big Reg. He says, living big with, he says, I'm almost positive Bradley Chubb and Nick Chubb are cousins.
They might be, but I swear I looked it up one time and it said they weren't related. And we did a Black History fact because Nick Chubb, his family had kind of started an all-black town down in Georgia. And it didn't mention Bradley Chubb in there either, I don't think. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I swear I looked it up and it said they weren't related.
Had it coming. What did TJ do?
TJ dirty as hell, man.
I don't know what. I know Bengals fans were like putting up videos where he blocked Burrow, and they're like, "See, he's trying to take Burrow out," and it's like, "Well, Burrow threw an interception." Okay,
He dirty as hell. You saw what he did to Cam Newton.
I didn't see nothing.
You saw what he did to Cam Newton.
I saw nothing.
He put the crown of his helmet into Cam's injured shoulder while he was throwing.
That's illegal.
Huh?
That's legal.
It's absolutely not legal to use the crown of your helmet.
Not as long as you don't use the crown of the helmet on the crown of the helmet, we're good.
No, you can't use your crown of the helmet anywhere. Using the crown of the helmet's illegal.
I don't know about that, but no, that's tackling. You're supposed to tackle
he didn't tackle him. He didn't
tackle. Why? Well,
your tackle's put the crown of his helmet into Cam Newton's shoulder.
Tomato.
Because he's a dirty bitch.
Wow.
I don't mean that. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Yes, you do.
But I haven't really liked TJ Watt since then. But hopefully he gets better quickly and he's back out there.
I know a lot of people. It's kind of funny, especially on Twitter. Pointing out that yes, he has the most sacks in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy that they want to say is the defensive player of the year. No, he's leading now. It's not tied.
Yeah, I know, because backup Tyler Huntley can't get out of the way of anything.
The other guy is not even. He dropped like 8 spots. So.
Which other guy? Oh, Miles.
The fake stat guy. The guy that says, "Oh, the quarterback threw the ball. I almost had a sack, so that should be a stat." And then it's funny. It's called a hurry. Well, then they posted pressure, and TJ Watt has more pressures. So now the excuse is, well, TJ plays more snaps than Miles, so it's not really fair.
Maybe Miles will work on his cardio. Look, I mean, TJ was just better than Miles this season. Like, I mean, I understand that Cleveland fans don't want to say that because they have so little. And why would
they got Flacco now? Okay, they got Flacco. They're riding high right now.
It could be okay. Now, right?
They're like January Jones about to show up.
I listen, honestly, it's been fun watching Joe Flacco. I don't have anything against Joe Flacco at all. It was amazing watching him go on that Super Bowl run with Baltimore. And that's how I like Joe in general, but I cannot wait for that to be over. I cannot wait for them to lose, and I don't have to hear January Joe again.
I'm telling you, if he walks into Baltimore,
he's walking into Baltimore with a goddamn ticket. All right, they ain't winning.
If he walks,
although I kind of hope they do because I don't want to hear about CJ Stroud winning a playoff game in his rookie year either.
Right, you got to be here like, well, what did Bryce Young do? Somebody simulated the game, and CJ Stroud goes up like 16 points, and then Joe leads them back,
and then they activated him.
and then he wins the game, and it's like by 1 that the Browns win by. And it's like, oh God, if that happens, and then it gets to go to Baltimore,
and it could, because I mean, those aren't, Cleveland's got a great defense, and
they have a
either one of those offenses, like they're pretty evenly matched,
Yeah.
So I don't know which way that one's going to go. I hope they both lose.
He can't end in a tie, Brady.
No, I want them to both lose. I don't want to tie.
Just lose, just
lose
somehow.
They both lose, and then next week they just call up Jacksonville.
So TJ Watt is injured. It's saying that he's going to miss up to 2 to 3 weeks. So if Pittsburgh were to able to win this round, he maybe be able to play in the next round.
I'm sure. I'm certain he would suit up, for the divisional round if they won. I think at least try to go.
Yeah, but we will see. The pettiest, yes, Bronny is the pettiest.
Ooh.
Now some interesting news, and it's not really interesting, but the way it was said, Tomlin came out right away and said that Mason Rudolph was going to start, and that brought a lot of hush, a lot of over the Steeler community. Not even like, hey, we're gonna split snaps during the week with Kenny and him, or it was straight up, we're going with Mason. No ifs, ands, or buts. And hopefully to get that butt Trubisky out of fucking Pittsburgh, because fuck
that's
that
your
guy.
boy.
No,
that is your man, Mitchell.
Let me tell you something. Mitch Trubisky reminds me of my second marriage. Should have never happened.
Wow, Mitchell Trubisky went 12-4 in Chicago, won that division a couple times.
Okay? I don't give a damn. Send his ass to the USFL with The Rock or somebody. Okay.
Hey. USFL is no more. It is the UFL coming this month.
UFL, UFO, UFC. I don't care. Get the fuck out of Pittsburgh.
That's very rude.
I don't care.
Very rude.
I don't want him here anymore.
I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
I don't care. He could be the greatest guy. He could be giving money to the charity. Get him the hell out of Pittsburgh. I don't want him here.
Messed up. Y'all kept Charlie Batch forever.
Yeah, but Charlie Batch won his games. Okay, Charlie Batch won his games. Okay, Byron Leftwich won his games when we were getting into the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Just Mitch Trubisky ain't doing. Yeah. Yeah, put him in the UFC. Put Mitch Trubisky in the UFC. He likes throwing bombs. He could go throw bombs over there. 4th and 2 and throws a 50-yarder. What the?
The dude would have caught it.
You don't want to talk about it, man. I'm so angry. All right, let's look ahead to the Steelers versus Bills. It's in Buffalo. Like you said, Gabe Davis might not be playing. Obviously, TJ Watt's not playing, but Steelers get back Minka. They get back KZ. There's talks that
dirty as hell, man. Like every player you name, dirty as hell. Dirtiest
motherfucker. But they're coming back. We signed Miles Jack after practice squad, and all of a sudden he decided to show up and play, and he was sitting on his couch. So I look at this game, and I think if we're being realistic, and shout out to Kingslayer for the subscription for 6 months in a row. Appreciate you, man. I think for me, the Steelers are just gonna have to run this ball like there's no tomorrow. Like really not depend on Mason Rudolph. Maybe get him a few throws. Maybe get hopefully get some throws to George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Maybe some checkdowns to Najee and Warren. But I need Najee Harris to have a 250-yard game again. Because I really believe that's the only way we're going to win this game, because you're taking the ball. And I know you're going to say, well, you kind of want Josh Allen to have a ball, but you're taking it out of him being able to score and, taking time of possession away. So I feel that is the one thing. If we can hold them to field goals, obviously we're not going to have TJ Watt. But if we can hold them to field goals, make Josh Allen make mistakes, and just run the ball like there's no tomorrow, I think we can win this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think when you are playing a explosive offense and you're not necessarily capable of keeping up in a shootout, you want to obviously you want to try and get the lead early, but you want to run the ball, try and shorten the game, lower the time of possession for that offense, and see, particularly with Josh Allen, see if you can just kind of frustrate him into making dumb throws. Like if Pittsburgh gets the ball first and they score, and they get a quick stop, and then they just run the ball and they just drain the clock, Josh Allen's going to go out there the next time they have the ball and think, I got to make something happen now. And then maybe you make a ill-advised pass or two. Maybe one of them Steelers, one of the dirty-ass Steelers, can get their hands on it.
Mika only has one hand, so
it's got to be Joey then. You try to, like I said, frustrate him into making mistakes. Think, hey, he's only going to get so many possessions. Trying to make him make throws that he shouldn't be making, and see if you can take advantage.
And he made a lot of those in the Miami game. Good God, he was like
goddamn
floating out of bounds and just chucking them.
Yeah. But chucking them. It worked out occasionally for him. That's just
because Tua decided just to throw it to everybody else.
Look, I don't want to come down too hard on Tua, but I told you Tua ain't that guy. He ain't that guy. But
you're not that guy. You're not that guy.
You just let Najee Harris and Jalen Warren try and control the game, and see if you can force a couple of mental mistakes from Josh, and that'll be kind of the recipe for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because I think Miami was running the ball great against
and then they just stopped.
And they just stopped, and I think Tomlin's not going to make that mistake. He's going to stick with it. But the question is when they're on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8, can Mason make a play? And if you can get that team to start biting on the run plays, now do you go to George Pickens down the sideline? Because we have seen you throw him the ball, he gets it. Like now, granted, Mitch Trubisky threw him the ball and he threw it right into triple coverage and way too high, and even George Pickens going to get that. But if you run the ball and Najee's picking up 5 or 6 yards every time, and Warren's getting those yards, they're going to start creeping up, and that's when you play action pass, or you get the one-on-ones and you just say, "Go win us that game, George." Because they did it. You've seen it on videos. Where Tom was talking to George and he's like, "Go win us this game," and Mason throws him a slant and he just catches it and goes, and they win that game because of it. So I think if you can do that and control the clock, the Bills can definitely be beat. Like you're not looking at, they're not the KC a couple of years ago when you're like, damn, they're not Baltimore this year. You can beat them, and Tomlin has walked into Buffalo and beat Buffalo, not necessarily in playoffs, but in that hostile environment. So they know they can handle it. It's just a whether can we make those plays and do what we got to do to win. So I'm very excited to see what happens, and we'll be picking the score and picking who we think is going to win a little bit later. But did you want to say something?
No, are they playing Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday,
okay.
Like the first game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're the 1:30 game, so 10 o'clock my time. So I probably will be live streaming. Hopefully, get a couple of these guys on if they want to come hang out. It's kind of fun live streaming, but then if we're not talking about the game, people get mad because we're talking about other stuff, and then it's just it gets all crazy.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But hopefully, I will probably be doing that this Sunday. But we'll be picking the scores and everything for wildcard weekend a little later. All right, let's get into some Panthers talk. And I don't have a crazy headline. I don't, they didn't get crushed. I didn't talk about it. But the Panthers fire Scott Fitter, which is your GM. The head coach has already been fired. So now you're clean slate again. You're going to start all over. How you feeling about that, Mr. Brady?
I feel good about it. There's a lot of good coaching candidates out there. They've requested permission to talk to a lot of people already. I don't pay too close attention to the GM interviews because most of these guys haven't been GMs before. So, I mean, the reality is we don't know anything about them. You don't know what kind of decisions they were making, what their role was, how important they were on the teams that they're on. And it's just, you just don't know. The people in the organization know that. So, that one kind of is what it is. But in terms of head coaching, there's Bill Belichick's out there, Mike Vrabel's out there. Obviously Eric Bieniemy, One guy who I'm really interested, Dave Canales, was the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. He was the quarterbacks coach for Seattle the year prior, and kind of helped with that breakout for Geno Smith. And then he went to be the OC in Tampa Bay, and obviously Baker Mayfield did what Baker Mayfield did, whatever. So I mean, he looks like he knows what he's doing with the quarterback position, and obviously that's something that Carolina needs right now. They requested to talk to Bobby Slowick. They want to talk to McDonald and Todd Monken out of Baltimore. Like, they're talking to everybody except Jim Harbaugh, who wants to talk to them. Doesn't make any sense to me. You have a guy who has coached a team to the Super Bowl in the NFL and just went down and won a college national championship, and he can still relate to younger players. I mean, I would want to talk to that guy, but David Tepper does what David Tepper does. So
yeah, David Tepper's like he's on Tinder right now. He's just swiping right on everybody. He's like, yeah, I'd like to talk to you. I like to talk to you. I like to talk to you. And when you do that, you're gonna end up with some crazy, swipe that wants to take you back to the room and do weird things to you. So I don't know if Tepper, if you're listening to this, I would not swipe right on every coach. I would maybe swipe left on a couple of them, but swipe left on the ones aren't good coaches. You're over there don't want to talk to Jim Harbaugh like you said.
I don't know why they're talking to Todd Monken. I don't want any part of that.
Because Baltimore be hyping him up.
Yeah, they do indeed.
Shout out to the second half of Lunch Break Hot Take. Jose, how are you doing tonight? Hope you're having a great night. Hope you're getting to relax, because I know you got to fend off those people that be eating food, from the company. You got to watch them, Jeremy says, well, at least Scott Fitter didn't throw a drink on a fan.
He did a lot worse than that, Jeremy. A lot worse than that.
So if you had your top 3 coaches picks, if they said, Bronny, give us your top 3 coaches you would want to coach the Carolina Panthers, what would they be?
I'm not super high on Bill Belichick right now, but I'm not gonna fault David Tepper for hiring the greatest coach of all time, right? I mean, he'd be on, and he's not actually available yet at this point. But I'd like them to be talking to Jim Harbaugh. I'd like them to be talking to Eric Bieniemy. I want an offensive coach. So I'll say Dave Canales in that third slot. If we want to talk about defensive coaches, then obviously Bill Belichick's the lead guy there. Brian Flores, and then probably Mike McDonald out of Baltimore would be on top 3 for defensive coaches. So yeah, I'd say Harbaugh, Bieniemy, and then Canales for the offensive minded guys.
Okay, and I know, like you just said, right now GMs is not really a thing for you, but going into my next question for you, what Panthers plan for the draft and free agency? What GM would you maybe, if you can give me a GM, but if not, what do you think the plan is for Panthers? Because you obviously, like you said, you've been saying all year to me, you don't have a number 1 draft pick this year.
Yeah.
And you have Bryce Young, so you got to get that figured out. That's your quarterback for now. Mm-hmm. So what is the plan for the Panthers going forward with draft and free agency?
Red, first of all, you better prepare yourself, because he is going to be gone. If it's not this offseason, then next offseason for sure, but likely this offseason. So just get ready. In terms of the plan for the Panthers, man, I mean, it's a mess. Right now with the offensive line, they just drafted Iquanu at left tackle 2 years ago. I mean, he's very young. They've got to stick with him. They've got they've got Chandler Zavala and Brady Christensen at guard, who both were injured quite a bit, as well as why can't I remember his name now? Austin Corbett. He had another major knee injury. So along the O-line, they have to get much better than they were this season, but they have a lot of young guys there who are still developing, a lot of guys who were hurt this season. So I think in reality, there's not going to be a ton of movement on the offensive line. I think they're going to kind of rely on, just the development of those younger players just to get that better.
Yeah.
So, you know, the number one priority on the offensive side of the ball is going to be getting anybody for Bryce Young to throw the ball to, okay, because it hasn't been working. Adam Thielen wants out. He wants to go and play for a contender. He knows his career is almost over, and I think they should let him go. You know, he's not going to be a big difference maker in Carolina anyway. Let him go and try and chase a ring. You know, see if he can catch on somewhere. DJ Chark, he's just a guy. I mean, he can stay or he can go, but they don't have anything else in that spot. They don't have a starting tight end. So the guy they should be targeting to me is T. Higgins out of Cincinnati. I don't think the Bengals are going to pay him because they have to pay Jamar Chase as well. So they need to, you know, collect all their pennies and go after T. Let him be the number one for Bryce. Let them grow together. On the defensive side of the ball, they've got to get Brian Burns' contract done. I would want them to get Derek Brown's contract done as well. And Frankie Louvu, I'm not sure if his contract is actually up. But I believe it's either up or he's going into his last year. So to try and get an extension with him as well. He's he's kind of a guy who I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but he wasn't like a top pick or a huge, free agent signing. But, he got to Carolina and he's been playing really well the last couple of years and made himself kind of indispensable. So you want to keep them together. You want to reward that. I think they have a solid core of talent on the defensive side. They need a lot of help in the secondary, and they need some help at linebacker as well. But they have a few young pieces there that they can definitely build around. So I would say again, the top priorities: getting Bryce Young a receiver, ideally T. Higgins, getting Brian Burns' contract extension done. And then if you can, getting Derek Brown's contract extension done as well, is where they need to start. And then, after that, it's best player available in every round in the draft because your team is not very good.
Yeah. Jeremy just hates you, Roddy. I have a feeling T. Higgins is going to the Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud.
Why would he go there? They just drafted Tank Dell. They've got Nico Collins, who broke out this season. Why would they want to pay T. Higgins?
Yeah, and I think that maybe the Panthers are going to go after Isaiah Likely. He's a great tight end that's on his way up. And I think what you just said you needed a tight end, right?
Yeah, we they always go out and they get the cast offs from Baltimore. They did that again this year. Hopefully Hayden Hurst recovers. He has a pretty scary situation going on there. He's got the I forget exactly what they call it, but kind of PTSD amnesia. So he's having a lot of memory issues. So hopefully he gets better. Just health wise, but they need to improve that position overall from a talent perspective, an on the field perspective. But look, the tight end position that's going to be something they just have to find where they can, because that can't be a priority right now. They don't have any wide receivers. They need to get their players taken care of on the defensive side of the ball. If they come across O-line talent, whether it's the draft or free agency, they have to go and get that. So tight end is going to be something that's, it's down the list. A lot like running back. Chuba Hubbard played well enough for them to come back and just say, okay, you can just be the guy again. Ideally you want to improve off of Chuba Hubbard, but it's so far down the list of priorities right now, they can't even really be thinking about that. Okay, yeah. So they got to get Louvu done as well. Thank you, Derek.
Yeah, I think I just hope that they take care of Young, because he's a good young quarterback, and I just hope they just don't do what like you said, like what they've done to their quarterbacks before, where they draft them, they play them 2 years. Oh, you're not working out. We're just gonna draft another one.
Well, luckily for Bryce, they gave up way too much for them to throw him out.
Maybe they gave up way too much, but but hopefully it doesn't mess anything up for him. But we'll see.
There was another coach that I forgot, and I don't know how I forgot, because it's the guy Carolina wants, but Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator in Detroit.
I think
as well.
Who asked about that? Oh yeah, here we go. Jeremy Miller. What about Ben Johnson? He's a
Yeah,
hot name.
look, I think Ben Johnson's a good coach. I would not be mad at that at all. But he's out here talking about he wants 15 million a year, and like, I mean, nah, no, thank you. Like, if you, I think it's obviously he's posturing a bit. You're not going to get 15 million a year, but uh, it felt to me like he was sending a signal to Carolina that no, I'm not gonna end up there.
That sucks. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Panthers gets this all figured out, and you can start watching their games again because I know you
Yeah,
probably
that would
watched
be
like one game
that
this
would be
year.
great.
You watched it.
Hey, listen. I watched parts of many games this year. Okay. Typically, I gave in the early season I was watching the full games, but once I figured out what it was, I would give them 3 to 4 drives, and
And
if it
then
was
you're like, I'm done.
if it was looking like how it normally looked, I'd just find something else to watch.
All right. We're moving on to our next topic. We're moving to the NBA. We do cover a lot of different topics. We mainly cover Panthers, Steelers right in the beginning, but we're going to talk about my favorite team, Bronny's favorite team, the LA Lakers, who are playing the Raptors tonight. And actually started like 2 minutes ago. Lakers are 18-19. They won the in-season tournament, and then all of a sudden just have been. And it's not even like, they're losing close games or whatever. I mean, they got blown out by the Pelicans. They lost to the Celtics. Lost to
Yes,
the
sir.
Timberwolves.
It's Darvin.
Is it Delvin or sorry, my bad,
Darvin.
Darvin.
Yeah.
My bad. My fault. You know me. Darvin had. They've been losing these games. I didn't even know Minnesota was that good. I thought someone told me they're like, Minnesota's in first place. I'm like, no, they're not.
Finally, I mean they've been collecting talent, and it's all coming together.
Ever since Homeboy got choked out, they decided to play, huh?
Yeah.
My bad. So, what do you think the plan is for the Lakers?
Like honestly, I was happy when they hired Darvin Ham. I thought he would be a good coach, but it just doesn't seem like it seems like there's just a disconnect between him and the players. There's been rumors out there that the players, they're just not really in tune with him because he keeps making drastic lineup changes. Austin Reeves to the bench, D'Angelo Russell to the bench, and then he just keeps juggling minutes for everybody, trying to find something that works. And it just seems like it's a lack of motivation. They have the talent, and you saw what a motivated Lakers team looked like when they were playing the in-season tournament. Like they wanted to win. They were all fully engaged, and they went out there and they won. They looked like one of the better teams in the league. And since then, you mentioned they've been blown out several times, but they've been blown out in games that they were winning. Like they would be up and then they just kind of let it slip. And it just seems like they're lacking in that motivation department. They're not finishing, and I think it is a coaching issue. I mean, I do think that they need to make a trade to bring in another scorer that they can rely on every night, because I don't think that's D'Angelo Russell. That's what he's there for. I mean, that and his playmaking, but I mean, they need him to be scoring consistently, and he's not really doing it. He's averaging about 15 a game, but it'll be 21 night and 5 another. And they just need to be able to rely on that third or fourth scorer. So I if they can bring in another guy, maybe package up Reeves and picks, something like that. Then
you can get rid of Reeves.
Help.
You can get rid of him.
Listen, I wouldn't want them to trade Reeves. But that's what it's going to take. Like nobody's going to want D'Angelo Russell necessarily.
I know, right? But the last time you traded Caruso, it's like,
you
got to keep the white guy.
No,
like give him Hachimura or like.
Well, the rumor is because they were talking about wanting DeJounte Murray out of Atlanta, and the rumor is they wanted Reeves and Hachimura, which I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to give up both of them. Yeah, I just call him back and be like, what about Hachimura and D'Angelo? Throwing a pick.
Or give up Vanderbilt and Hachimura.
Well, Vanderbilt. I mean, that dude's never heard of offense, but they need him. They need him out there playing defense. He's very versatile on the defensive end. They can get rid of Gabe
Yeah,
Vincent.
and that too. Didn't Reeves just sign a big contract?
Not really. I mean, he big for him. It was like a $50 million, 4 years, $50 million. He's like 12 and a half a year or so, which I know it sounds like a big deal, but in the NBA, not really.
I mean, we're broke, so you know.
But yes, I do think that Ham probably should be gone sooner rather than later. If they want to wait until they make a trade and give it another week or two and see, if it breathes some life into him, okay. But I think ultimately he's going to have to go.
What's the rumor? What's any rumors on DeRozan or I know?
Yeah, Chicago. The thing is, like they keep telling it's like Jerry Jeudy with the Broncos. Like they keep telling everybody, yeah, Jerry Jeudy's available, and you clearly don't want him, but then you call him up and they're like, give us a first round pick, and you're like, well, he's not that good, and you clearly don't want him, right? So from what I've read, that Chicago's kind of the same way. They want to move on from Zach LaVine. They're very willing to move on from DeRozan. But then teams are calling and they're just overvaluing those guys, and which is why nothing has gotten done yet.
Gotcha.
So maybe closer to the deadline, they'll come to reality and lower their asking price or something. But until then, I think teams are just looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Wait, Lakers have picks?
Yes. Derek, they do.
Can't give up on Austin
Reeves. Come on, man. Yes, they can.
Yeah. I think Reg is right. It's still early in the season, but you got it. If your aspirations are to win a championship, and you got to the Western Conference Finals last year, got swept. There needs to be you need to do something, because I think when we watched that last year, we had all picked the Lakers to win. We're like, oh yeah, the Lakers are gonna win. Like Jokic is good, but the rest of the team, and they got swept. And it was always the end of the game. They were close. They were gonna win, and then it slipped through their hands like 3 or 4 times, like 3 times. I'll say 3. I think one Nuggets just played better, and so that has to change. And if a trade is what's going to take, then cool. But I think you're right, because even last year they just weren't finishing games, and so is that a coaching thing? Is that an age thing? I don't know, but you need to do something. I say you call Dallas and say, look, we'll give you Reeves and AD, give us Luka, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But we will see what happens. I think that the Lakers are still going to be fine. I just think, like, I agree, they need to make a trade, and maybe they'll light some fire into them. But it's like, you have the talent. Why do you need to make a trade and you're 18 and 19?
Yeah, and that's why ultimately I think it's going to be Darvin, because they do have, like last year, like you said, they were having issues. They couldn't get consistent scoring. But they went out and they got Taurean Prince. They added Christian Wood. They brought in Gabe Vincent. Now Gabe Vincent hasn't been playing. Obviously, he's been hurt. But they added guys to kind of address that, and they're still just having the same issues. They're still just kind of almost disengaged. It feels like at times, and they're not closing out games. They're letting games just slip through their fingers, and it's not. You can't just point at one guy and be like, oh man, they need to get this guy out of the lineup and that'll help or whatever. And ultimately it's just, you got to look at the coach, because it's a whole team issue.
Now, what would you do? Would you go out and get a new coach, or would you just have an assistant coach take over? I don't even know who the assistants are.
I mean, for the rest of this season, it will be tough to bring in somebody from the outside. So, I mean, I think you would just have to promote for the rest of this season. But
or you call up Phil Jackson and bring him back, and he goes out there and
I don't know why you love the racists so much. I just don't. I don't understand.
Because he'll get you a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, and like Jeremy said, that's the question for this season. Like I said, you would just have to promote one of the assistants and have them kind of ride it out. and then see what and who is available and who's interested in the offseason. But they need something to kind of kickstart them right now to get them out of neutral.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Oh, I think Rich, I think he flip flops the lineup too much. It's almost like he doesn't know how to use talent he
Yeah.
has.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Baltimore Ravens. All right.
So Odell saying.
All right. Wild card weekend.
Mm-mm-mm.
Wild card weekend. Here we go. We got. Oh, this is not even the correct one.
What do you mean? Yeah, it is.
My apologies. No, it's not because it has it.
Oh, it doesn't have the.
Yeah. So it doesn't have the actual games. But we do know. Let me hold on. Let me find the real. My bad. My apologies.
Miami, Kansas City is on Saturday, and then obviously the Steelers and Bills on Sunday.
Up real quick. My apologies. No, that's wrong.
I cannot wait.
Every freaking one had like Jacksonville in it.
Yeah.
Like Jacksonville. And then there's one that says here, and it's like, oh, the Steelers are playing the Browns. And I'm like, no, they're not. Literally every little one I'm looking at right now had Jacksonville in it. 2023, all of them had Jacksonville in it. I can't find one with the Steelers in it. It's so frustrating. All right, we'll just have to use this graphic. You kind of know what is going on.
Right.
But let's go Saturday. Let's go Cleveland versus the Texans in Texas. Who do you got?
Ultimately, I'm going to have to. I really like Houston. I think they've done a fantastic job turning the team around. CJ Stroud has been amazing. Will Anderson, they drafted, in my opinion, the offensive and defensive rookie of the year there. D'Amico Ryan's doing a great job. But I think ultimately Cleveland's defense is going to carry the day for them. I think they're going to get the win on the road.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to win it too. January Joe's coming for you, Baltimore. Be ready. Brandon Buck says Cleveland also. Let us know your picks in the chat. The later that day, Saturday night, Miami versus Kansas City. Yeah, are you excited about that one?
Not as much as I should be. I'll tell you that. But you do have the Tyreek Hill angle. And it's
a lot of revenge games. A lot of revenge games for this weekend. It's very, and that's my next question we're going to talk about. A lot of revenge games because there's some interesting games coming.
It's always fun to watch Kansas City. In the playoffs, they've kind of been the mainstay in the league for the last 5-6 years. I don't see Miami going on the road and pulling off the upset. I really don't. Not with Tua at quarterback. Not in that stadium. I think Kansas City's too much for them.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're coming from, but they can go out there and score. They can. Tyreek can put 220 yards on you. As Brady just leaves me.
I didn't.
I don't know how much injuries are going to affect Miami. But I think you still have Patrick Mahomes, and you got a pretty good defense. So yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City. All right,
Sunday's games are great.
Yeah,
Sunday's a great day.
Sunday's first game, Steelers at Buffalo.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
We talked about it. I think that there is obviously a path to victory for Pittsburgh. I mean, it's not like it's not some crazy out of this world upset if they win. But I don't see it happening. I don't think Mason Rudolph gets it done. I don't think Najee Harris has the kind of game that we're talking about him needing to have. So I think Buffalo gets the win at home. But I think it's a closer game than maybe expected. I'm gonna say 24-16 Buffalo.
Jeremy Miller picked the Chiefs. KC Browns. Ooh, Big Reg picked Houston. Dallas fans pray better pray Houston doesn't go further than them. Facts. I'm going with the Steelers with the upset.
What?
Don't be surprised. I think Najee Harris is going to run, and Mason's going to make a couple plays that's going to get him there. You said 24-16.
Yes.
I'm going to say 24-23 Pittsburgh
Okay.
by a field goal, but I think Mason's going to throw 1 or 2 touchdowns, and I think Najee's going to have a touchdown. Warren's going to have a touchdown. I think that's how it's going to go. The next game after that, which is going to be, like you said, just games after games is going to be awesome. Hopefully there's no blowouts. Green Bay versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Really
Jordan Love in his first playoff game. Who you got?
Honestly, I'm taking Green Bay in this one. I'm taking them as the upset. I think that I mean, look, Jordan Love is not the best out there, but he has talent. Okay? He can make some great throws at times, and they've got talent all over the field at wide receiver. I mean, they're all young, but they have some very talented wide receivers. And I think that Aaron Jones being back is a big deal. And honestly, I just don't see. I can't put my faith in Dak. Dallas is they had a losing record this year against playoff teams. And you know how he played last season when they got to the playoffs, and I can't pick him. So I'm taking Green Bay.
You got Jeremy Miller and Caleb going, oh my God. They are not happy with you. Obviously, Jeremy Miller taking the Cowboys. Hot take, Green Bay. Big Reg going with Green Bay. Woo, you guys, I just don't trust Dak. Wow. Jeremy Miller and Caleb are punching the air right now because of you guys.
Well, and I'll say too, it's not just Dak. They don't really have a reliable run game, and the defense isn't as good as it looked early in the season.
He typed this so hard right now. I don't care. Go ahead and pick against us.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't care. You sound really chill right now, Jeremy.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys, even though Jordan Love. I think he's gonna blossom in his first playoff game. I think Cowboys are gonna have enough experience to get by them, but it's gonna be a close game. I think it's 3 points or less. It's gonna be a close game, but I think Cowboys will take care of business. This game, I am excited about this game. Yeah. First off, the Detroit Lions are back in the playoffs. Okay. Second off, the man that was there for years, criticized, goes to another team, wins the Super Bowl, is coming back to play in the stadium where he set almost of his passing yards. I am excited for this with his 2 weapons.
Against the guy who got kicked out of the Rams.
Out of the team he went to. This is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. This is I am so excited for this game because I want to see what happens
with the real offensive rookie of the year, Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
who set the record for catches and yards for a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, this is just I cannot wait for this game. Wow, I don't know, Rodney. Who do you got?
I am taking the Detroit Lions at home. And I'm taking them because they look not because of Jared Goff, because Jared Goff is much like Tua, not that guy, but they have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got Jamison Williams, who they're finally kind of learning how to integrate into the offense. They've got David Montgomery, who's a rock solid running back, and they've got Jahmyr Gibbs, who is an electric playmaker at running back as well. And on the other side, Matt Stafford is very Josh Allen-esque. He's going to try to throw the game away. And it's about whether or not the Lions take advantage. And I think they will.
I think the opposite. I think he's walking back into home and he's saying, baby, daddy's back. And he's going to throw that ball and he's going to rip like 4 or 5 touchdowns on Detroit. And he's going to say, remember who I am? Did you forget about me? You forget who owned this place? And I think he's going to remind people, he's possibly a Hall of Famer. I mean, I think he's
Oh,
going to
he's going.
remind
He's
people.
going. I think. I don't think he
I think
deserves
he's,
it. He's going.
but that's what I'm saying. I think he's going to remind people that he's a Hall of Famer. So I am taking the Rams in the upset. I think it's going to be an awesome game. I think it's going to be very emotional. I think he's going to get very emotional. Being there at the start of the game and at the end, if he wins this game, it's going to be emotional. But it's going to be. I think you're right. I think this should have been the Monday night game. A lot of people are complaining about it.
Oh yeah,
So
on to the worst game of the weekend.
yeah, real quick. You got Detroit Rams. As it says, I can't wait to watch this one. Jeremy is 31. Big Reg taking the Rams. Big Reg is just taking upsets today. Gonna be a banger facts. This should be the Monday night game. I'm lost on why the Bucks and Eagles are Monday again. What do you mean, Rodney? He won a Super Bowl. Well,
Yeah.
the
So
team won the Super Bowl.
so did Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
So did Brad Johnson. So did Nick Foles. A lot of people win Super Bowls. I mean, not a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Now we're going to move on to the Monday night game. And what do I got to say about the Monday night game?
And I have to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Like, why? Like, cool. It's an 8-18 versus a freaking, what are they, 11-10?
Hey. They're 9-8, sir.
And in that division. Oh. Actually, after we get off this, I'm gonna ask you a question about this. But who do you got in this game? Obviously, I know you're taking Tampa Bay, but give us the reason.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay because the Eagles are reeling. I think AJ Brown is going to play. I think. Not sure. He hurt his knee last week. They said it wasn't his ACL or anything like that, but not 100% sure he's going to be healthy or he's going to be playing. I think he's going to play. Devontae Smith is also banged up. They have just been in a funk all season long. Their defense has gotten worse over the course of the season. Jalen Hurts he's been bad pretty much all year, and I don't see any reason that they're going to get on track on the road in the first week of the playoffs. I just don't see it. I think they're out.
Against the number 14, and it's not an upset because Tampa's higher.
That's right.
So I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the safe pick. I think the Eagles will bounce back, beat Tampa. It's Baker Mayfield. Unless all of a sudden he decides to be January Joe, I think Eagles are gonna take care of business and they'll be able to beat this team. I won't say handily, but they'll be able to beat them and move on to the next round. All right, my question to you, Rodney, and I didn't even think about this till right now because I had thought about it. I heard somebody else talking about it. And chat, you can chime in if you want. We always see Tampa Bay. They are 9-8. Deservedly should not be in the playoffs. Just because they're in the division, that's bad. Shouldn't be in the playoffs. Do you think the NFL should do away with divisions?
No, absolutely not.
They work.
Absolutely not. You get to the playoffs because you win your division. That's how it is. That's how it should be. Like, you can't just look at record. You know why? I can't just look at record because you don't play the same schedule as everyone else. So, you can look at Philly and say, oh, well, they've got a couple more wins, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't play the same schedule that Tampa Bay played right now. I mean, granted, Tampa Bay schedule is pretty goddamn weak too. But I mean, in another scenario, it makes more sense, right?
I mean, they get 2 automatic wins against Carolina, so.
Okay, and they get 2 against Washington and 2 against the Giants. In theory, they I don't think it really worked out for them that way, obviously, but it's the strength is different, right? That's the majority of your schedule, playing your division opponents, your division rivals, and it has to mean something. Otherwise, why are you playing those games? You know what I mean? If you say, hey, you don't get an automatic playoff berth by being in division, then you just get rid of divisions altogether. And then it's a free for all, and then you don't have the long standing rivalries that we have in the NFL at this point. I
Brandon,
think
that's not a stupid question because you have a 9-8 team. What? Let me see. Let me look at the NFC real quick. NFC. I want to see what standings. should have had this up, but I didn't even think about it. Why does it go straight to the AFC? Packers 9-8, Saints 9-8. I mean, okay, they Buccaneers, Saints 9-8, Packers 9-8, Seahawks 9-8. But let's say the Seahawks would have been 10-7. I mean, they had a better record, so I feel like that's not out of the realm of saying yeah. But when your division's bad, Buck, when you're literally in a bad division, I think it kind of hurts.
Yeah, but you can't pick and choose though. Like the rule is the rule, right? Because like look at
the rule's rule. I'm just
right. Like Buffalo and Miami are 11-6, right? They were playing for the division championship this past weekend. Obviously, Buffalo won the game. They get to host a playoff game.
Yeah.
They're hosting Pittsburgh, who finished 10-7. Pittsburgh played in a much, much, much tougher division than them, right? Like, would you sit there and say also, hey, Buffalo shouldn't be able to have that home game because Pittsburgh played in a tougher division, or is it fine because of the record or what, right? Like, I don't think that you can look at the record and say, hey, Buffalo and Miami are better than Pittsburgh because they have they're one game better in terms of the record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's fair to kind of look at just the overall record and say, oh, well, this team has a better record, so they should have the home game because you don't play the same schedule. They got to play the Jets and the Patriots 4 times,
Yeah, and Big Reg says if you don't allow division winners in, you turn into college football, which nobody likes how it's done over there.
Well, I guarantee you Suge would have liked that this year because that would have made Pittsburgh the division champions in the AFC North if you did it the college way.
Oh, dude, I would have been happy. Browns should be a higher seed than the Texans, but since they won the division, they got the home game, which I think is BS, in my opinion.
But again, they play in
They won the division. Yeah, they won the division. Yeah, I see it, but it was being thrown around. By logic, Buffalo shouldn't be in the playoffs. No, they won the division. I think Miami shouldn't be in the playoffs then. I think. No. Yeah, because Miami lost the division. I don't know. I think they need to maybe do some reseeding or readjusting of the divisions, because there's some teams out of their how can I say it right? Are there some teams that are not
like
exactly
geographically?
Geographically. Yeah, because isn't the AFC North that's one of them?
Yeah, most of those teams are mostly where they should be.
Okay.
But the South, you got Houston, you got Jacksonville's all the way in Florida, the Colts, and then Tennessee. Like they're a little bit all over the place. The Chiefs, and then Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Yeah. But that comes with teams moving around. Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, look, that stuff kind of goes in cycles, right? Like the AFC North was really good this year, and in a couple of years they won't be anymore. The NFC South has been awful for the past several years, but before that, every one of those teams was in the Super Bowl. The Saints and Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. Atlanta and Carolina both made the Super Bowl and lost. So you couldn't look at it and say, hey man, that's a weak ass division. They're on hard times now, but there's always going to be a team. There's always going to be weaker divisions. There's always going to be a team who kind of you feel like shouldn't be or isn't as good as these other wild card teams, or maybe they don't deserve it or whatever. But I always look at Tom Brady and New England as the example, right? Because nobody really talked about how big of an advantage they had being in the AFC East for all those years with those garbage ass teams. They went 16-0, but they got free wins against Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets for 6 of those wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna come and go. It's gonna even out in the end. Divisions are gonna rise and fall, teams are gonna rise and fall, and you just gotta leave it alone. I mean, it sucks. It sucks for teams who go on the road, who happen to have to go on the road that year. It sucks, but the thing about it is, and why it needs to stay is what you know the rules. You know what you have to do to get in. Unlike in college football, where they can change things in an instant because there's no guidelines on who gets in, who gets to play, or whatnot. You know, Florida State was undefeated, didn't get to go to the playoffs because somebody said they're not good enough without their starting.
Shout out to Hendo.
Yeah.
Shout out. Real quick, I don't know why it's not showing. My apologies, but shout out to Elijah Randall. He is a Chiefs fan on Facebook. He's one of my good friends. He says, "Go Chiefs." He's tagging me. He's like, "What's up?" And then he says, "Steelers Chiefs AFC Championship game." If that were to happen, I'd be very happy. I would be very, very happy if that happened. But for some reason, I can't see the comments on here. It's not allowed to, so I'm gonna have to get with Bronny. We're gonna have to fix that, or when we move to our new platform, because StreamYard is garbage. Shout out to garbage. Real quick, and this was something else I just realized that we didn't even talk about. 2024's opponents have been set for both of our teams.
Mhm.
And why are the Panthers trying to charge me to look at their thing? They're trying to charge me to go on their page. Well, let's talk about the Panthers, then we'll get into Steelers. So your home games are going to be obviously the Falcons, Saints, Buccaneers. You get the Giants, Cowboys, the Cardinals, KC, Chargers, and the Bengals. Your away games, obviously, again, Falcons, Saints, Buccaneers. You get Philly, Commanders, Chicago, Denver, and the Raiders. You excited about that one?
Yeah, look, I think it's a obviously a lot changes between now and the kickoff of next season, but it seems like a pretty I don't want to say easy schedule because they're the worst team in the league, but it's not too tough on them. I think if they do their jobs this offseason, they should be right in the mix for the division next year.
Yeah. Any games you might try to attend? I don't see Baltimore there. That would have been
no. I think we might try to, and I know it's not on this schedule, but Philly's going to Baltimore. I know my nephew really wanted to go see the Eagles play Baltimore, so we might try and hit that one. But listen, I'm not really one for traveling 2 games to begin with, just because I think the at home experience is better than the stadium experience, generally speaking. But I damn sure ain't traveling to see 2-15 fucking Panthers. No. No. And when I say traveling,
go
I
Giants
mean, they could be playing next door. I'm not traveling to see that.
All right, and for the Steelers, guess what? I get to go back to Vegas. Obviously, Steelers are playing Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, home and away. But we were playing the Cowboys, we were playing the Chiefs, we were playing Chargers, New York Giants, and the New York Jets. And then that's all at home. And on the road, we're playing the Falcons, the Broncos, the Colts, the Raiders, the Eagles, and the Commanders. So it looks like we're playing the NFC East and the AFC West. Yes, the AFC West. So I get to go back to Vegas for the Raider game for hopefully on my birthday again, and that's gonna be awesome. I wish the Chargers game was gonna be in Los Angeles again because that would have been dope. Maybe try to go out to Pittsburgh with my buddy to go see KC versus the Chiefs at home. Um, Everything else is pretty far away for me, but maybe I try to make a trip. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this seems like a good schedule. Obviously, AFC North, like Reg says here, AFC North set a record. First time in history, no team finished below 500.
Not in history, Reg. Just in a very long time.
So it's bum scoop Reg again. Gotcha. But we'll see what happens. I think NFC North, NFC East. That's a tough tough group. And then the AFC West, obviously Kansas City, and See, I don't know what's going on with the Chargers. So
Right? I mean,
know.
they gonna have Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh, and you ain't gonna be able to win that one.
Right, we don't beat Bill Belichick. Yeah, so that's exciting. So DBZ said, so should a 9-8 third place team get it over the Bucks, Jeremy? I mean, the problem is the division winners. Like, yeah, you can't kick a division winner out, obviously. So that just makes sense. He said, sorry, first time all teams finish. First time all teams finish above 500.
No, it was the first time since I believe it was like 1935, but it's not the first time ever.
Oh.
AFC stay lying about their teams, man.
We be staying lying. Obviously, we talked about what the games you're excited about this weekend. Anything going on in the boxing world or anything this weekend? Is there a UFC fight? I haven't even checked.
I don't believe so. There was a decent fight what should have been a decent fight this past weekend with Virgil Ortiz and Frederick Lawson. Ended up being a first round knockout or TKO. They stopped the fight, and most people thought they stopped it too early. They stopped it because of a cut. So that kind of actually this weekend there is a big fight. Artur Beterbiev against Callum Smith is on ESPN Plus on January 13th. So if you have ESPN Plus, definitely tune in for that one. That could be another step in setting up the Beterbiev versus Bivol fight, which is the one everybody wants to see. For undisputed at light heavyweight. Christian and Billy is on that card as well. And listen, you've never seen someone hit another human being as hard as Christian and Billy does. So you definitely want to try and catch his fight if you can. I don't think there's anything in the UFC.
UFC is just a free fight. The big fights coming up, which are not even really exciting. You have, after this free fight, you have UFC 97, Sean Strickland versus Duplessis. And then the co-main event is women's bantamweight, Raquel Pennington versus, I believe, Myra Silva. That's the big one for that one. And then you have UFC 298, Alexander Volkanovski versus, I cannot pronounce his name, Tapura. He's 14-0.
Ilya Topuria.
Henry Cejudo's back. He's fighting the co-main event.
Boy.
Nothing really after that. And then you have UFC 299. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Dustin Poirier versus St. Dennis. And then I think that's when we're going to get UFC 300. So far, the fights that have been announced for that one is Charles Oliveira versus a name I'm not even going to pronounce. Bo Nix versus Cody Budget. Calvin Qatar. Did I say that wrong?
I think it's Qatar and Aljamain Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling
and Prohaska.
But I think they're holding out for Connor because I think Connor announced the fight.
They said that he's coming back. I think this summer. So I don't know when they're planning on this UFC 300.
Otherwise, this UFC 300 is going to be crap. Because right now they have the main fight is a non-title fight for 300.
It's it's an okay card, but not anything really exciting.
Unless Ronda Rousey's fine ass is coming back, or remember
love the racists. Incredible.
Ooh, remember when Derek Lewis did that? He was wearing Ronda Rousey's fine ass. It was hilarious.
But, they got Prohaska, who's an exciting fighter. Aljamain Sterling, who was the recently the champion there. Bo Nickel is their kind of up and coming.
Yeah, but this card is like if it's for 300,
But that's what I'm
300
saying. Like it's an okay card, but not for what they're trying to produce for UFC 300.
Yeah, because I thought they were
It's
going to
just-
be way more better fights than this. Because they were saying that the undercards are going to be mind blowing. Well, if
They
this is your
don't
this better be all the undercards.
prelim.
Yeah, these are
they
all better be prelims.
they don't have stars. They don't have guys that you're going to get excited about fighting or seeing fight.
UFC is washed, as he says, washed. Yeah, Bo Nichols, not Bo Nick. Sorry, Bo Nichols. Sorry, I get them confused. On Facebook, James, my good friend James says Bills by 14. Go screw yourself. Um, have you been seeing the back and forth with John Jones and the guy from England, heavyweight champion? They've been kind of going at it.
I've seen John Jones saying that he he's not interested.
Yeah.
So he's
Well, he wants to
he's
fight
accomplished
Stipe.
everything.
Yeah,
and
gonna...
then that's it. Essentially, that's what he's saying.
So, and this guy's trying to call him out. I think he's trying to get his money.
Yeah, for sure. And this is what always happens in combat sports, not just UFC, but this is combat sports in general. When you have a guy who is at the top, and you feel like, hey, that's a guy you can fight and make a lot of money and make your name. All the young fighters call him out, and Floyd Mayweather had talked about this because no matter who Floyd beat, everybody, all the Floyd haters would be like, oh well, you haven't fought this guy, well you haven't fought that guy, you haven't fought this guy, and he's like, there's always going to be another young fighter for forever. Like you can't beat everybody, So it is what it is. Like John Jones doesn't need any fight with any of the heavyweights they have now. I think if he gets the Stipe fight, I think honestly the only other thing that would be of any interest to him is Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I mean that you would. I mean it would make money if you did a cross promotion. Your best fighter versus our best fighter, like,
and especially after Ngannou went out there and knocked down Fury and looked like kind of pretty much outboxed him. And if he looks good again fighting Anthony Joshua, it would be huge, right? But who knows if they can actually get it put together.
We'll see what happens. All right, I think we've gone long enough. I'm trying to get some rest because I got work tomorrow. Brownie got work tomorrow. But
actually, I'm done with work tomorrow. So
that's a good employee right there. Finish your work ahead of time, right?
Damn right.
Damn right. Ronnie, before we get out of here, let people know where they can find you and all your great content.
You can find me on Lunch Break Hot Take every Wednesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, followed up by the Overtime Show for patrons. You can find me obviously here Tuesday nights at 9:45 p.m. for the Steel Conspiracy, but you know that because you're watching. You can find me on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time over on Sip to Tally Films with Coach Evans, my brother Jose, OTR Mike, Chris Just Joking, and Hendo from the RougPod for the Ravens Roundup. And then you can also find me on Sunday nights, I believe 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on the RougPod with Hendo. And then Ring Kings podcast, whenever there's a big time fight, we will be recording or streaming afterwards. So just make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on for that.
Yep. And shout out to OTR Mike, my favorite sweater. I love wearing this sweater. I had to buy 2 of them. And you can find me here Tuesday nights at 6:45 p.m. PST. Steel Conspiracy. You can also find me on Twitch, Suge Knight 1323. Usually trying to stream over there doing gaming, or on TikTok, Suge Knight 323, where I go live over there and usually just chilling or playing some Magic or Fortnite when I have an opportunity. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate everybody that came in tonight. Hope you're having a great new year so far, and I hope everything's going well. Make sure to join us next week. Shout out to Hendo. Hopefully he got his issue taken care of, and hope he's doing okay and it wasn't too bad. And appreciate everybody once again for being here and hanging out. Hope you all have a good night. We will talk to you later. Shout out to everybody on Facebook. I will get it fixed to where I can bring up your comments. I don't know what's going on, but it's not showing up over here. But we will definitely get that fixed. And like I said, appreciate everybody hanging out. Hope you have a good night. Talk to y'all later.
Image, your beats are so fire.
I feel we can beat the Browns. We can compete with Baltimore if they have Lamar, and we're right there with the Bengals.
That young man put his life on the line for you, for your entertainment.
We were talking all before the game. You know, everyone was like, "Nah, Ravens don't have a shot," and they're right there.